and welcome back to this week's episode of Ant on Music. I, of course, am your humble host, Ant, and this week we got a little bit of what I call a catch-up show, stuff that I've gotten to and haven't really had a chance to talk about or show you guys here on the channel itself. So, some new stuff, obviously some stuff that's been out for a while that I finally got around to picking up. Let's get into it. Before we do, I want to thank everybody that comes here week after week, checking out the channel, dropping comments, likes, subscribing, all that good stuff. Please do so. I love it. I enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy the chat. It's fantastic. And the first thing we're going to look at is a recommendation that I got from Goose. All right, Goose is my buddy. He always chimes in on the channel week after week. And this was when he goes, he says, "Hey, Ann, did you check out this?" And I was like, "Never heard of it." So went and checked it out. And I'm surprised that Mike beat me to the punch on this one. And the reason being is, if you've been here time and time again, you realize I'm a pretty big Flower Kings fan. And this is Jonas Reingold from the Flower Kings and Steve Hackett and Matthias Olsson of Engelard and White Willow. And it's called The Book of Hours. This is the debut album. It's called Agusa Peltier. So you can take a look at that right there. It's got a very cool cover. All right. But the cover doesn't really match the music they're in. At least I don't think so. It's called The Book of Hours. You would figure it's pretty dark, heavy stuff. But it's not. It's actually it's a very cool, very light instrumental album all the way through. And it's basically, 5 tracks, all right? Or 4 tracks, and one is split over 2 sides. You've got The Flute of Peril, Levitator, Burial Mound, The Book of Hours Part 1, and then all of side 2 is The Book of Hours Parts 2, 3, and 4. Basic black vinyl, nothing really to see there. But it is a very cool instrumental album, very mellow, great to listen to if you're just chilling out. So I thank Mike for turning me on to them. I'm very glad that I managed to get a copy of this. It always seems that stuff by the Flower Kings and their members seems to, disappear pretty quickly. So that was one of the new ones that I got. Then I got an email, and it was from Frontiers Music about their having their summer sale. And I looked through stuff, and there was a few things on there. It's like, wow, there were a few things on there that I really wanted to pick up. And I was like, you know what? Get it at the discounted rate in 2 of the albums I'm going to show you now, because they kind of fit where I'm at this week. And they're albums that I said I was going to pick up, but I never got around to doing it. And since they had them both and they had them on sale, I was like, screw this, I'm taking advantage of this. It's one of my favorite vocalists. And the reason why I'm wearing this shirt, John Anderson and the Band Geeks. And I picked up both of the albums that they've released. One is the album True. The other one is Perpetual Change Live. So very glad to grab those. I'm going to show those to you. So, if you're unfamiliar, John Anderson was the singer with Yes. Times move on. He's no longer the singer in Yes. This is the album True with the Band Geeks. And this is a gatefold. So you get your lyrics and liner notes in there. All right. Apologize for all the glare. And, with this album, it's 2 album set. I'm going to dig this out for you. Labels have John on each side. And it is a very cool, transparent blue. And this album's pretty damn good. It's one of those things where I said I was going to get it when it came out, and I never got around to it. Then I moved on to other things. And that email from Frontiers was a great, it was a godsend for me, because it reminded me, it's like, oh crap, I got to get this. So it starts off with True Messenger, and the Band Geeks, these guys are phenomenal. It's like they have been compared to like a modern day Yes. Like this is where Yes should be. And I'm cool that there's, Yes is Yes with Steve Howe and, John Anderson doing what he's doing here with the Band Geeks. I think that it's just more music to get into and to love. So this kicks off with True Messenger, which is a good tune. Shine On, also very good. Counties and Countries, which I really dig. Build Me an Ocean, which I really like. And the guy who plays guitar for the Band Geeks, he really does a great job. And you'd be hard pressed to think it isn't Steve Howe in places. Then you've got Still a Friend, Make It Right, Realization Part 2, which I really love, Once Upon a Dream, and Thank God, which is another great tune. If you haven't listened to this, which, I can't see people that, check out my channel haven't, because I do a lot of prog stuff, but definitely worth the time to give a listen to John Anderson and the Band Geeks. And even more so, you have the live album, all right? And this is a monster, all right? This is a triple album set, and it is, unfortunately, the one drawback is it's not a gatefold or a triple gatefold, but it really is fantastic. They do an excellent job of performing Yes's classic tunes. It kicks off with an excellent version of Yours Is No Disgrace, going into Perpetual Change. Then all of side B is Close to the Edge, and it is amazing. Heart of the Sunrise, Starship Trooper, Your Move, and I've Seen All the Good People. Awaken, then side E is all of Gates of Delirium, and then it finishes off with And You and I and Roundabout. And it is wonderful. Definitely if you're into Yes, like I am, worthy picking it up. Very, very cool. Glad to finally get these two in my collection. Also, if you haven't heard of The Invention of Knowledge, which is an album that John Anderson did with Royna Stolt of the Flower Kings, check that one out. That album is great. Really, really love that album. I was always hoping they would do something else together, but so far to date, it hasn't come to fruition. So we'll see if that comes about, sometime in the future, hopefully soon, rather sooner than later. The next one I'm going to show you is kind of the oddball, I guess, for the week, because everything else is pretty proggy, and this isn't. But I am a fan of the Faces, and this was the only album that I didn't have like an original copy of. Not so much a first press, but an original copy of. And this is the, probably their most well-known album. It definitely has their best-known track on here with the title track. So what I'm talking about is Ooh La La. All right, so take a look at that. That is Ooh La La. And I will still try and track down an original version of this, because on the cover, the original cover, the face would move. You had to squeeze it together, but the face would move, which I'm dorky that way. This does come with an Obi, all right? And this is on 180 gram vinyl. It's cut from the original analog master tapes by Kevin Gray over at Coherent. It is a heavyweight gatefold jack, and it is. I mean, it is very heavyweight. I'll show you that in a moment, and the gatefold and the back and all that. So here it is, and like I said, the original cover, you could squish this down and his mouth would move. On the back, you've got the boys in the band, and you've got your track listing and some liner notes. And then you've got how they came up with the title for the album. A little bit of the can. Looks like Ronnie Wood's enjoying himself there. So, just very, typical stuff. If you know the Faces, they were just, a good time party band. And the tracks are great, and it comes with a couple of goodies in there, which is neat. So one of the things it comes with is this little essay, conversation with Glyn Johns and Kenny Jones, with commentary by the Faces reissue producer Bob Keeger. And you have that, and it's made to look like the cover of a reel-to-reel. All right, so lacquer cut at Master Lab, Master Tape. Very, very cool to have stuff like that, along with the essay, of course, inside. And another goodie. All right, so with this goodie, you get your lyrics and a photo of the band right there. So get all that. It's pretty neat. It's one-sided poster. And it's got some good tracks on here. I'm always been a fan of the Faces. I was always told when I was younger that I was born way ahead of my time with a lot of the stuff that I liked musically. And this one kicks off with Silicone Grown, which is a great Ron Wood and Rod Stewart tune. Then you get Cindy Incidentally, I love that song. Flags and Banners, My Fault, Barstow Boys, Fly in the Ointment, which is a pretty cool tune. If I'm on the Late Side, Glad and Sorry, Just Another Honky, and it ends with the Wood Lane Competition, Ooh La La, which is just a boatload of fun. You can't not love Ooh La La. So very glad, and this is a Rhino High Fidelity reissue, and it's the first one of these that I've purchased of High Fidelity. I was like really psyched when I found out that this was coming out on vinyl. So even though I haven't gotten a lot of the High Fidelity, this is a tough thing to deal with. I'm going to deal with this later. I may not even put it away in the sleeve. So glad to have Ooh La La in the collection and finally complete my Faces collection. I think I have everything they've put out. I'm almost 99% positive. Maybe sans a greatest hits package here or there. But if I've got everything else, what do I need the greatest hits package for? So finally, that brings us to our unboxing of this week. And I was unfortunate. I didn't get a chance to go to this tour. That's why I'm not wearing a Roger Waters t-shirt this week. Have seen him live. It is a phenomenal concert experience. He really has some outstanding production values. And this is called This Is Not a Drill. Roger Waters live from Prague. And I think I'm going to go out and get the Blu-ray on this because I really want to see this. It sounds phenomenal. I can only imagine what the visuals are like, having seen Roger in the past. So I got to pick it up. Very thirsty today. So this is Roger Waters. This Is Not a Drill, live from Prague, and. On the back it says here, every time the curtain falls on some forgotten life, it is because we all stood by silent and it's normal. And the hype sticker here says, a powerful knight standing up for love, mourning injustice, and demanding human rights. And the way this kicks off, it kicks off with the introduction from Roger Waters, where he basically says, I've always been a fan of Pink Floyd, but not so much, Roger's politics. And he goes, well, if you feel that way, you might as well go fuck off to the bar, in typical Waters fashion. And truth be told, if you're not into Roger's politics, you haven't been listening to, Pink Floyd since forever. So we have this. We have the back. It is another, just like Perpetual Change, one of these extra wide boxes. It's not really a box so much as it is extra wide panel. And in it, we got this little gimme, okay? And now we stand at a crossroads. We are in an existential battle for the soul of the human race. This is not a drill. And there's Roger. And we get some photos from the live setting right there. Very cool. It's not too often I show you a whole book because they're usually a lot longer than this. But this is a absolutely phenomenal live set. And I've been listening to this pretty constantly since it came out last week. Pretty much every day I've listened to it. And every day I find myself, digging it more and more. It's kind of funny because I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan. I was not a big Roger Waters fan at the start of Roger's solo career. I'm not a big fan of Amused to Death. I think Radio Chaos suffers from really cheesy 80 production. But the last few albums I've really loved what Roger has done. And I think just him being a grumpy old bastard really works in his favor. And cool thing is, like with all of this, he gives you not only the liner notes but the lyrics to all the songs, which you don't really see in a live album. but he does, which is cool. And the track listing after that introduction starts off. It's odd because it starts off with "Comfortably Numb," which is like usually, mid-set or an encore, because it's such a huge tune. Then you've got "The Happiest Days of Our Lives," "Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, "Another Brick in the Wall Part 3, "The Powers That Be," "The Bravery of Being Out of Range," which I absolutely love, especially this live version. "The Bar," which is a new tune, which is something that he wrote during lockdown, which is very cool. And "Have a Cigar." So that's all of LP1, both sides. Then you get on to LP2. You get "Wish You Were Here," an amazing version of that. "Shining You Crazy Diamonds," parts 6 and 7. Then you get "Sheep," "In the Flesh," and "Run Like Hell." And I really dig "Sheep." "Sheep" has always been one of my favorite tunes, going back to its original release on Animals. Then you get "Deja Vu," the title track of "Is This the Life We Really Want?" "Money," "Us and Them," "Any Color You Like," "Brain Damage," and "Eclipse." And then finally on side 4, on LP4, you get "Two Suns in the Sunset," which is a cool tune, "The Bar Part 2, and it finishes up with "Outside the Wall" from Pink Floyd's The Wall. So if you haven't heard the Roger Waters yet, this is definitely a must. I mean, I cannot say enough good things about it. It's definitely one of the best live albums I've heard this year, if not the best. So definitely worth checking out. So that is everything I have for this week. Pretty much, like I said, a catch-up show with John Anderson being in there and the faces, but a couple of new ones too with Agusa Peltier and Mr. Waters live. So that is everything I've got. Thanks for coming and checking out the channel. I really do appreciate it. Come back a couple of days. I'm going to throw another one up here. There's always something coming out or something I'm picking up somewhere. Subscribe. Share it out. Tell your friends who might dig this crap. It's like I have fun doing this. I have fun sharing my stuff with you. So drop a comment. Tell me what you dig. Tell me what you've been getting into lately. What have you been listening to? It doesn't necessarily have to be the stuff I listen to. I listen to a ton of stuff. So very cool to listen to all sorts of things. So there you go. That's everything I got. Thank you. Until next time. Peace, one love, music. I'm out.